I was just wondering how many times will we now hear it said that the scale of Russian infiltration in our government and subversion of our elections was impossible to see. When the truth is that for years and years, reputable journalists tried to make this point and were called nut jobs and cranks by the newspapers who refused to report on it. Vladimir Putin and his criminal mates have used a technique referred to as hypernormalization to keep everyone so confused that we don't know what's real anymore. While they've nicked everything and used these ill-gotten gains to buy politicians and newspapers that exacerbate the problem tenfold and tear the social fabric of countries that have stood traditionally against Russia and its bullshit, so that when Putin's kleptocrat starts a war with Ukraine, those countries are now incapable of opposing them. And shouldn't it make us angry that a report into this exact thing we taxpayers paid for was never released because Boris Johnson said that it wasn't in the public interest? Brexit, the landslide re-election of the Tories, bought and paid for with money stolen by a handful of criminal ex-KGB agents, fronted by a man who looks like a melted William Shatner mask. Kinda makes you wonder if the reason this subversion went largely unreported is because the news media in this country never goes after its own, and that once Russian money was used to buy into it, none of the other papers wanted people asking questions about who owned them. And risk that our conclusion might be that most newspapers and news TV and most of our widely read websites are actually tools of oppression used by a billionaire class to maintain the hypernormalization and more than double its wealth in the last 15 years at your and my expense. So the next time you hear anyone say the scale of Russian infiltration in our government and subversion of our elections was impossible to see, remember that it wasn't. It was seen and known, but pushed into the conflicting, deafening noise that is being used to stop us from realizing that refugees and immigrants are not the problem in this country. It's the Tories and the criminal money that owns them, and everything else in this God.